Before I start recording this message, I just want to pray for a lady, Colette Murray. She's having an operation this Thursday, 29th of September in Kappa Hospital in Dublin. I will be in Medjugorje this Thursday. I will be praying the rosary for you. And you'll be very much in my prayers. This message, my daughter asked me to pray for you. So, Colette, just know that I'll be praying for you. Anyway, God bless. Take care. About 25 years ago, when I was working in a secondary school in Mexico, somebody handed me a book of Marian apparitions. In that book, it spoke about Garabandal, Akita, Fatima, Quibejo, La Salette, all of the various places where Our Lady appeared. And for some reason, I've always followed Akita and Garabandal. As I said in other videos, my aunts have gone there. It was often spoken about in our families, and I remember reading, what Our Lady said to Sister Agnes on October the 13th, in 1973. And I'm just going to read it out here again. Many people will know this message, but I'll just read it here again. My dear daughter, listen well to what I have to say to you. You will inform your superior. After a short silence, as I told you, if men do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all of humanity. It will be a punishment greater than the deluge, such as one never seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and will wipe out a great part of humanity, the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priests nor faith. The survivors will find themselves so desolate they will envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son. Each day recite the prayers of the rosary. With the rosary, pray for the Pope, the bishops and priests. The work of the devil will infiltrate even into the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops opposing bishops. Priests who venerate me will be scorned and opposed by their confreres. Churches and altars sacked. The church will be full of those who accept compromises. And the demon will press many priests and consecrated souls to leave the service of the Lord. The demon will be especially implacable against souls consecrated to God. The thought of the loss of so many souls is the cause of my sadness. If sins increase in number and gravity, there will be no longer pardon for them. I mean, it's quite shocking if you read that message from Sister Agnes, and it's interesting if you look at where Akita is placed on the map and where Fatima is placed on the map. They're on the same latitude. Just a coincidence that some people might have missed. And earlier this week, there was a photo was circulated about the altar in Armagh Cathedral, the new altar. If you look at the old altar that was there in the 1970s, early 1970s, and you look at what they did afterwards, we didn't need to sack we didn't need an enemy to sack our churches and to sack altars. We did that ourselves. We paid for it. Many people can criticize Vatican II, but there was never a mention in Vatican II of sacking altars, of destroying high altars and so forth. And yet we embarked on this maniac, demonic process of destroying cathedrals, altars, the sacred statues, and making our worship man-centered instead of God-centered. If we look over the history of Christianity, all the churches that offered the sacrifice of the Mass, that offered divine worship or the sacred liturgies, divine liturgies and so forth, it was always offered ad orientem. It was always God-centered. And yet, in the last 50 years, the Catholic Church is so enlightened that we will spend money on destroying the sacred in order to make our cathedrals man-centered, and they've been emptying and emptying and emptying and emptying. It doesn't take a genius to see what has happened in the church in the last 50 years. The fact that we have the Belgian bishops issuing statements like this, the fact that we have the demonic synodal synthesis in Ireland. How many times was Rosary mentioned in the synthesis document? Not once. How many times was Mary or Marian devotions mentioned in the synthesis document? Not once. Does it take a genius here to question what have we done in the church? Do we see bishops opposing bishops? Yes, we do. Do we see priests being scorned for being traditional and wanting to pray the rosary and do basic Catholic devotions? Yes, we do. We've had the priest here locally says, I'd prefer we didn't have traditional priests. Do we need, how many more signs do we need to see what Our Lady was warning in Akita in 1973? How much more, how many more apparitions do we need of Our Lady? This week, I'm going to Medjugorje. I'm being pulled to Medjugorje, to be honest, because I really had no intentions of going. It wasn't on my radar. I mean, I never really had any opinion on it one way or the other. You know, the Eucharist is real in any parish as it is in Medjugorje, and and for me, Knock, I always found I live beside Knock. Why would I need to go to Medjugorje? But I'm being pulled there, literally being pulled there, told I need to go there. And as Christ said in many times in prayer, he will speak to me in his church. He will, send me people that will help me, or, he'll lead me. I don't know where we're going, but I'm praying. I will pray this over the next week when I'm there. One thing that's coming to prayer, coming to me in prayer a lot since I've started meditating and thinking about where I'll be going in the next week, and it's coming to me a lot in the Rosary, are three words that seem to be repeated in my mind over and over and over again. Mir, mir, mir. It's like Our Lady keeps saying to me, mir, mir, mir. Peace, peace, peace. Isn't it incredible that those three words, which seemingly were said in Medjugorje, mir, 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 are the same. It's the same word in Russian as it is in the local language in Medjugorje. Mir, mir, mir. And this is practically coming to me all the time in prayer as I'm getting ready to go to Medjugorje. And as I said, I wouldn't be going there if the events of the 28th of August hadn't happened this year. I simply wouldn't. But, Our Lady seems to be pushing Catholics, pushing people to speak at this time. I don't know why. But it doesn't take a genius not to put the dots together on what we're actually seeing in the world, in the church. It's not to create anxiety here in my video. I didn't invent the messages of Garbandal. I didn't invent the messages of Akita. I didn't invent what Our Lady supposedly said in Medjugorje, even though it's not fully approved. But I mean, mir, 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 peace, peace, peace. I mean, she said this, and look where we are today. We will look at news headlines and, there's a threat of nuclear war. And people just say, that'll never happen. Putin would never do that. Russia would never use these bombs, And yes, America did use them twice. And we saw the consequences. Another thing that's coming to be in prayer is, Putin backed into a foxhole. What happens to people when you back them into a corner? They bite. Is the world waiting for Russia to bite? I don't know. you'll have to see. But I mean, Our Lady is very insistent in what she's asking. Mir. And I don't know. You'll have to ask her. This is what she's saying to me over and over again in the rosary. Mir. Peace. And as my friends know, people that know me, I've said to them many times, I have no interest in going to Medjugorje. I am being drawn there. This is me being drawn there, and I would be stupid not to recognize what has happened in my life over the last 2 months, not to see I need to be there this week. And I don't know, but maybe it's to get this message out. Our Lady is asking for peace. She's asking for peace. She's asking for peace. People, we seem to live in this fantasy that we're not walking into a calamity at this moment in time. The church has completely lost the faith. The hierarchy, the Pope, bishops, you don't speak of the faith. Not in this synodal process. You have been silent. You've been silent. People know this. Catholics can see it. And Pope Paul VI said, the smoke of Satan has entered the church by a crack. What have we today in the church? The fact that you can go ahead and publish a synodal synthesis document, that's heresy. That has no faith. Unless you're going to say that Our Lady's been asking us to pray for since God knows how long, doesn't have meaning anymore. The cross doesn't have meaning anymore. The vision I had of bishops walking up to the cross, unnailing Christ's body and casting his body aside and burning the cross. That's what the bishops have done with this synthesis document, because you're not leading souls to Christ. You're leading them out of the church, but you don't teach the faith. We don't teach, and you don't understand the cascade of evil that is coming from blocking grace in people's souls. By removing the supernatural dimension of our existence, and not allowing people to understand the supernatural dimension of their existence. That's what bishops have done. And so many people don't believe because there's no leadership. There's no leadership from bishops. You ran away from us. During COVID, you ran away from us. And today, with this synodal process, you're running away from us again. You're not able to stand up and actually meditate and give us the faith. And it's not just in Ireland, it's in many countries. I mean, you don't turn on the media and there's talk of nuclear war. And what have we, the Belgian bishops, doing? What is on the Belgian bishops' mind? Are they talking about peace? Are they organising rallies for peace? No, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of scary in a sense. And, I suppose I'm going back to that meditation I had while reading those messages 25 years ago. And I said, how could this happen in the church? How will this happen? That would never happen. And yet we look at today, our altars and our churches have been sacked. Literally, they've removed tabernacles and altars from our churches since 1973. We don't teach the faith, and we teach a counterfeit. We teach a counterfeit in the church. We don't talk about what Our Lady has asked us to do, is to pray this. We don't talk about the Eucharist. I mean, in Garabandal they said less and less importance will be given to the Eucharist. What have we today? And that was even earlier than Akita. Less and less importance will be given to the Eucharist, and cardinals, bishops and priests are leading souls to hell. That was what was said there. Can we disregard the messages, the clear messages that Our Lady has been given? Prophetic messages. And now, in 2022, can we disregard Our Lady's call for a mere, peace, peace. I don't even know any of the messages of Medjugorje. I don't know. I actually haven't read up on what has been said to these visionaries. All I know are those 3 words that keep coming to my mind. Mir, mir, mir. Mir, mir, mir. Isn't it incredible that that message would be understood in Russian? And look where we are today. I don't want to create anxiety with this video or call, but I didn't invent those messages. So I didn't invent. They're there. Our Lady has said them. She said them to Sister Agnes. She said them to the girls in Garabandal. She has said those messages. They are there. Are we that stupid as Catholics today that we think we know better about the faith, that we can disregard what Our Lady has been telling us? This wicked, evil synodal process is destroying the faith. It's demonic. There is no other way to say it than that's what it is. Anybody that read that synthesis document should hang their head in shame and say, well, why aren't more people speaking out about this? It's like we look in Germany, we're looking at cardinals covering up, a cardinal in India, a cardinal in Brazil, various different cardinals covering up the most evil crimes. And, silence in the church among those who could change, could do more. Us laity are limited in our capacity. We can just pray, and we will pray. But I do find it very unsettling to see those prophetic messages being, revealing themselves in these moments in the world. We did sack those churches. Less and less importance was given to the Eucharist. There is opposition between cardinals and bishops and priests. Anything that's traditional is cast aside. I mean, what could be more demonic than Traditionis Custodes? What could be more demonic in this moment in the church and in the world than banning the traditional Latin Mass, said with reverence, a silent prayer of the church? What could be more demonic than that? I mean, I can't think of anything. What was held sacred and beautiful for hundreds and hundreds of years, the very prayer, the highest form of prayer in the church, that nourished saints, including John Paul II and Mother Teresa. It built those saints. What could be more demonic than trying to ban, restrict that? What could be more demonic than what happened in Cork, where the bishop will restrict the traditional Latin Mass with the Dominicans, the Dominican Rite, or in the parish? What could be more demonic than that? Think about it. Think about what happened. When we look at what Archbishop Lefebvre was trying to say to the church, we look at what is playing out in the church at this moment in time and playing out in the world at this moment in time. We are better than God. We know better than God. The church knows better than Our Lady. We are more enlightened than Our Lady. We know better. And anyway, so pray for the church in this time, but these are truly sad times in the church. I mean, and if you have eyes to see, just look. Look at what has happened. Look at what has happened in the church. Look at what is happening in the church today. And ask yourselves, was Our Lady right to give a message in Akita, in Garabandal, in Quebeco, in La Salette, in Fatima, Lourdes, in Medjugorje? I don't know. I mean, mir. Was that, were those 3 words meant for Croatia and Bosnia, or were they meant for Russia? Because they would understand that. And I think it's important that we pray. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.